Dorothy was a beautiful and humble young woman. Though she was a university graduate, Dorothy struggled to find a good job. Instead, she sold fruits by the roadside to support herself and her little brother. One day, Dorothy noticed an old man sitting quietly by the roadside. His clothes were torn, and his slippers worn out. Many people ignored him or treated him badly, but Dorothy saw something different. She smiled warmly and called him Grandpa, offering him fruit and water. Little did she know that this poor old beggar was not what he seemed. He was actually a billionaire in disguise, and even more surprising, he was the father of the man Dorothy would fall in love with. What happened next shocked the whole town. In the town of Umuoma lived a beautiful, humble, and kind-hearted young maiden named Dorothy. She was a graduate who became a roadside fruit seller after failing to secure a fancy job with her qualifications. Dorothy had a friend named Adaora. They had been friends since their first day at the university. They shared notes, food, laughter, and dreams. Both were smart, beautiful, and full of life. After graduation, their quest to find good jobs did not materialize. But life had a different plan for Dorothy. Dorothy had no rich family to support her. Her father had died when she was young, and her mother sold vegetables in the market to feed Dorothy and her little brother before she passed as well. She was just an orphan with her younger brother to look after. Adaora, on the other hand, came from a well-to-do background. Her father was a retired general, and her mother was known across town for her parties and extravagant lifestyle. Dorothy and Adaora were both smart, ambitious girls who graduated with dreams of becoming something great. After NYSC program, they did exactly like every other job hunter, searching for job day and night, but nothing positive came out of it. Life after school was hard. No job. No opportunities. No one willing to give them a chance. After the hope of getting a decent job failed, Dorothy decided to hustle, buying fruits from the local farm and selling them by the roadside in the market. She woke up early, stood under the sun, and earned just enough to pay for rent for their tiny room, put food on the table for her and her younger brother. But Adaora? She came from a well-to-do family and couldn't think the same way as Dorothy. Dorothy, she would say with a scoff, how can a whole university graduate like you be dragging bananas and pineapples with illiterates? Dorothy would smile gently. There's dignity in labor, Adaora. I'd rather struggle and sleep in peace than wear gold and diamonds I didn't work for. But Adaora laughed. Sleep in peace. In this hard life. My dear, wake up. Respect doesn't come from sweat, it comes from status. Weeks passed, then months. Dorothy kept selling her fruits. Before long, Adaora began driving flashy cars, wearing designer dresses, and posting expensive restaurant meals on social media. Everyone in the neighborhood whispered, she's a runs girl, dating rich men. Politicians even married men. But Adaora didn't care. She flaunted her lifestyle and mocked Dorothy every time she saw her. You're still here in the sun, she once said, stepping out of a metallic SUV. See your cracked lips and dusty clothes. I beg, this your dignity, is it edible? It can put quality food on the table and you know it. Dorothy simply smiled again. I'm content, Adaora. You will understand someday. One hot afternoon, Adaora spotted Dorothy arranging fruits under her big umbrella. Adaora laughed loud and called out, Dorothy, so this is how you want to waste your certificate? From graduate to fruit seller? Dorothy smiled gently and replied, at least I'm not wasting my soul chasing things that disappear in the night. Adaora hissed. You are too proud. This life is for sharp people. No time for struggle. Days turned to weeks. Weeks became months. Dorothy saved every cent she made. She smiled at her customers, kept her stall clean, and even offered school children free fruits when she could. One rainy day, a well-dressed elderly woman stopped by Dorothy's stall. She was drenched and tired. Please, my dear, can I rest under your umbrella? I missed my ride. Of course, Mama. Sit, please, Dorothy said, helping her with her to sit properly and offering her a hot cup of tea from her flask. The woman looked at her with kind eyes. What's your name? Dorothy. She responded. May your kindness never go unrewarded, the woman said softly. She later left after the rain went down. In the same town was a young woman named Clara. She was the kind of girl everyone in Umuoma town knew, not because of kindness, but because of her pride. Born into wealth as the only daughter of a powerful politician, she grew up believing the world revolved around her. She wore the most expensive clothes, drove flashy cars, and looked down on anyone who didn't meet her high standards. To Clara, status was everything. And to her, respect had to be earned by money, not by character. One early morning in the busy town of Umuoma, the sun had barely risen, and traders were already setting up their stalls. Motorcycles buzzed past as people rushed to begin their day. In the middle of this activity, an old man sat quietly by the roadside near the busy market. His clothes were faded and patched in several places, and his slippers looked worn out. He held a walking stick and wore a hat that hid most of his grey hair. His face was wrinkled, but his eyes were sharp and observant. People walked past him without a second glance. Some gave him dirty looks. Others muttered insults. "See this old beggar, spoiling the beauty of the market," one woman whispered. "Maybe he's looking for someone to dash him food," another scoffed. But the old man remained silent. He only smiled quietly as he watched the crowd. As Dorothy was arranging her fruits, the old man approached her. He was dirty, barefooted, and looked tired. "My daughter. I've not eaten since yesterday. Can I get one banana, please?" he asked weakly. Without hesitation, Dorothy gave him some bananas and a bottle of water. He smiled. "May blessings never depart from you." As he walked away, Adaora came strolling by, laughing. She saw the old man and yelled, "You again? Still roaming like a ghost? I beg, disappear before you bring bad luck." The old man looked at her calmly and walked off. Adaora turned to Dorothy and laughed. "Can you imagine? That man smells like poverty. These beggars need to be wiped off the street." Dorothy shook her head. "You never know who people really are, Adaora. Kindness doesn't cost a thing." Adaora scoffed. "Whatever. Keep playing Mother Teresa while I book a weekend trip to Dubai." She entered a waiting car and zoomed off. But what neither of them knew was that the old man wasn't just anybody. That evening, Dorothy's little brother Sam fell seriously ill. She needed money for surgery and she had no one to turn to. In tears, she went to Adaora's house. "Adaora, please, help me. Just a loan. I swear I'll pay you back." Adaora laughed. "With what? Mangoes and bananas? Please. I don't invest in poverty. I have told you severally to join the moving train, but you remained stubborn. I don't have money to give you." She slammed the door in Dorothy's face. Dorothy was highly disappointed. She broke down and cried at Adaora's doorstep. The following day, Dorothy was setting up her fruit table, and nearby was the same old man she gave bananas a day before, sitting at his spot begging. Suddenly, a black SUV drove into the market square and parked on the road. From it stepped a tall, beautiful young woman. It was Clara. Clara had come to check on one of her many shops and collect rent from her tenants. As she strutted past, the old man lifted his head, waved at her and gave her a kind smile. He didn't say a word, just smiled. Clara paused, turned to him slowly. "Excuse me," she said, "why are you staring and waving at me like that? You look disgusting." The old man chuckled softly. "My daughter, good morning. I was just admiring how confident you are. You look like someone with a strong future." Clara's eyes narrowed. "Are you mad or what? You think your filthy compliment means anything to me? Don't you ever speak to me again, you useless old fool." The market grew quiet as people turned to watch. The old man didn't say anything more. He simply looked down at his feet. Just then, a voice rang out. "Hey, Grandpa, are you okay?" A young woman ran over. It was Dorothy, the fruit seller who worked every day to care for her sick younger brother. She had seen everything. Dorothy knelt beside the old man and offered him a bottle of cold water. "Please don't mind her," she said softly. "Some people don't know that everyone deserves respect." The old man looked at her with gratitude. "Thank you, my daughter. What's your name?" "Dorothy," she replied with a shy smile. The old man nodded slowly. You have a good heart, Dorothy. May life surprise you one day. She laughed gently. I'll take that blessing, sir. But right now, I would settle for a good meal. They both chuckled, and she went back to her fruit stand. But Clara, who had walked off, didn't stop there. She turned back toward the crowd and shouted, "These are the people dragging this town backward. We need to clear the streets of trash like him." The market people murmured among themselves, uncomfortable with her attitude, but no one had the courage to challenge her. The old man sitting by the roadside said quietly, "We shall see, my daughter. Life is full of surprises." Then he walked away, alone, unnoticed. But what no one knew was that this beggar was not who he seemed. Every day Dorothy would chat with the old man, and she always gave him fruits, sometimes money, and they became friends. One evening after the day's sales, Dorothy packed the remaining fruits into a round tray and balanced it on her head. Her body ached from standing all day, but her mind was focused. Her younger brother Sam needed food and medicine. As she turned onto a quiet street, she heard footsteps behind her. She turned around sharply. It was the beggar, the old man from the market. "Good evening, my daughter," he greeted warmly. "Ah, Grandpa, you scared me," Dorothy said with a relieved smile. He chuckled. "Forgive me. I just wanted to walk with you a little. I enjoy your company." Dorothy nodded and smiled. "Let's walk together." They strolled down the road, and Dorothy shared little bits about her life. How her parents had died years ago. How she started to sell fruits after failing to secure a proper job after graduating from school, and how she cares for her brother who fell seriously sick and needed surgery. "You're a brave girl," the old man said. "And your heart is pure. That matters more than riches." Dorothy smiled, even though her eyes were tired. When they reached her small compound, she said, "This is where I stay. It's not much, but it is home." "May I see your brother?" he asked. Dorothy hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Something about the old man felt trustworthy. Inside, the house was small and dimly lit. Sam lay down looking really sick. The old man came closer to him. "You'll be well, my son," he said quietly. "Very soon." The next day, as Dorothy was with the old man, he asked her how her brother was faring, and when she explained, he said to Dorothy, "Tomorrow morning, go to number 7, Hilltop Avenue. Ask for Papa Raymond. He will help with your brother's surgery. Don't be late." Dorothy blinked. "Hilltop? Isn't that where all the rich people live?" The old man smiled. "Just go there and ask for Papa Raymond. Goodbye, my daughter." He walked away, leaving Dorothy confused and curious. The next day, Dorothy dressed in her cleanest clothes, a grey dress and coral beads. When she got to number 7, Hilltop Avenue, she was amazed. She had never been to this part of town. The houses were massive, with tall fences, security gates, and guards. The gatekeeper questioned her and confirmed that she was at the right place. When she asked for Papa Raymond, the guard smiled and opened the gate. "Madam, we've been expecting you." She walked in slowly, her mouth open in shock. The house looked like a palace, marble floors, chandelier lights, and expensive cars parked in the driveway. And then, a man came out exhuming wealth and riches. He asked, "Are you Dorothy?" "Yes, sir," she responded. "Okay, you are in the right place." He gave her a handshake, but Dorothy looked unsettled. "Come with me," he said. While they were inside the living room, Dorothy could not stop gazing at the beauty of the mansion. "You can have a seat," he politely told her. While they were seated, they chatted for a while, and the man told her that he would pay for the surgery of her brother and equally take her out of poverty. Dorothy was happy to hear that, but before she could say a word, the man said, "But there is a price for it." "What price, sir?" she asked, looking uneasy. "You are a beautiful young woman. Just make me happy and become my mistress, and you will lack no more." "Sir, if that is what this is all about, please, I don't need your money. My friend who gave me your address never mentioned anything of such." The man tried to touch her, but she immediately jumped up and was heading out of the house in a hurry when a voice called, "Dorothy, it is okay, come back." She heard the voice of the old man Beggar, and she returned to the living room only to find her beggar friend looking nothing close to his usual self. He was no longer in his ragged clothes but in a designer elegant suit, clean and dignified, exhuming wealth and riches. "Good morning, Dorothy," he said kindly. "Good morning, Grandpa. What is going on here?" she questioned. "My daughter, relax your nerves. Chief Henry, who welcomed you, is my friend who refused to believe me when I told him about you. He insisted that he must put you to a test. And as you can see, he did, and you passed. So you are not a beggar. You lied and deceived me, Grandpa, but I..." Before she could complete her statement, Papa Raymond interrupted. "We will talk about all that later. Just come, let me show you something." He led Dorothy through to the back. Then he stopped in front of a small, beautiful cottage and opened the door. Inside was a fully furnished apartment, bed, kitchen, everything. "This is your new home," he said. Dorothy's knees buckled. "Sir, I don't understand. What is happening and who are you?" Papa Raymond smiled. "I'm not just a tired old man. My name is Chief Raymond Dixon. I own multiple companies in this town. Once in a while I disguise myself to test random people to see their hearts and identify who to help. And you have shown me that you have a pure heart." He paused and added, "You passed the test. You treated me with kindness when you thought I was nothing." Dorothy was speechless, her mouth trembling. "I want to help you. Your brother's hospital bills will be taken care of. I've arranged for him to receive the best care and treatment in my hospital. And for you, I have a job offer, a proper one, if you'll accept it." Dorothy was shocked. Why would you do all this for me?" Papa Raymond smiled. "Because kindness is priceless, and I believe in rewarding good hearts." As he was about to leave, he said, "Oh, by the way, I have a son I would like you to meet someday." One evening, as Dorothy was settling into her new apartment inside Papa Raymond's estate, it still felt like a dream. The bed was soft, there was constant electricity, and her brother was now in a private hospital receiving proper treatment. She had just finished cooking when she heard a knock at the door. She opened it and froze. Standing there was a tall, handsome man who introduced himself as the gardener who takes care of the compound. "Hello, my name is Ken, the gardener. What is your name?" "My name is Dorothy," she responded. "Please, do you have any food? I am a little bit hungry," he said. "Yes, I just finished cooking. If you wouldn't mind, come in and let's eat together," she said. They both sat in the dining and ate together. That evening they talked about their lives, their dreams, their values. Dorothy was surprised by how humble and grounded and well-spoken the gardener was. They connected instantly. Ken listened to her without interrupting, and when she spoke about her struggles, he didn't pity her, he respected her. Unknown to Dorothy, Ken was not just an ordinary gardener but a man in search of a good woman he can call his wife. Ken later left and Dorothy did not see him again. One day Dorothy asked Papa Raymond where the gardener was. He wasn't aware that Ken and Dorothy met already. He asked, "Which gardener are you referring to?" "Ken, sir," she responded. "Okay, Ken, he is on leave but he will be back soon." "Okay, thank you, sir." Chief was a bit confused. He had no gardener named Ken. The only Ken in that house was his only son, who visited and returned to his base. A few months later, Ken returned back home from his trip. Inside the main building, Ken and Chief Raymond were discussing when he confirmed to his father that he had a soft spot for Dorothy. Chief smiled and said, "Son, if you love her, then you should speak to her about how you feel. She is a very good girl." The next morning, in a crisp white shirt and blue jeans, holding a bouquet of flowers, Ken knocked on Dorothy's door. He smiled warmly. "Good morning, Dorothy," he said. "Good morning, Ken," Dorothy replied slowly. She welcomed him inside the cottage. As they sat down, he gave her the flowers. Confused but politely, she asked, "Why are you dressed like this? Where is your uniform?" "Well, the truth is, I am not a gardener. I'm Ken, Chief Raymond's only son." Dorothy's eyes widened. Ken chuckled. "Don't worry, I've heard a lot about you and I confirmed every word by pretending to be a gardener. My father told me about everything you did, and how you helped him when he pretended to be a poor man." "Oh, not again. What is all this? You are Grandpa's son?" "Yes, I am. And do you know," Ken said, smiling gently, You've made quite an impression on my father. And on me too. Dorothy blushed. I didn't do anything special. I just did what I thought was right. And that, he said, is exactly what makes you special. While Dorothy's life was beginning to transform, Clara was busy attending big red carpet events, planning her next win. She had been in a relationship with Ken for 2 years, on and off. Mostly off. She saw him as her ultimate prize, wealthy, handsome, and from a powerful family. When she heard he had returned from the trip, she immediately dressed in her best outfit and drove straight to Chief Raymond's mansion, without invitation. The security guards hesitated to allow her in, but Chief Raymond gave them order to open the gate for her. I'm his fiancé, Clara barked, as she passed them, storming through the gates. As she stepped into the compound, she saw Ken affectionately chatting with a young woman, Dorothy. The same fruit seller she had ignored. The same girl who had dared to speak kindly to that useless old beggar. Clara's blood boiled. What is she doing here? She snapped. Ken's smile vanished. Clara, this is my father's guest. Please show some respect. Respect? Clara laughed bitterly. This low-class market girl? So this is the type of trash you now entertain? Ken's eyes darkened. Watch your words. I should have known, Clara sneered. The old man that embarrassed me that day, he was your father, right? She asked Dorothy. There was silence. Then a voice cut through the air. Yes. I am the old man. Are you surprised? Said Papa Raymond, stepping out from the house. And I have never been more ashamed of any woman my son has dated. Clara turned pale. I didn't know. You didn't need to know, he said coldly, because a good woman respects people whether they are rich or poor. Ken stepped forward. We're done, Clara. You failed the simple test of character. Please leave. Clara's lips trembled. She looked at Dorothy one last time with pure hatred, then turned and stormed out, defeated. Weeks that followed, Chief Raymond put Dorothy in charge of his charity foundation. Dorothy gradually settled into her new job as the personal coordinator for one of Chief Raymond's charity programs. She was helping women like herself. Women who are hardworking but overlooked and struggled to find opportunities. She flourished in the role. And so did her bond with Ken. They spent more time together, at the hospital checking on Sam. Or just walking through the estate gardens talking about everything and nothing. One day while they were in the hospital, Ken said to Dorothy, You know, every time I'm around you, I feel like I'm learning how to breathe again. Dorothy smiled. That's poetic. Ken chuckled, maybe. But it's true. You've taught me what real strength looks like, not from power or money, but from compassion. Dorothy looked at him gently. And you've shown me that not all rich people are arrogant or selfish. They both laughed. Then silence. Then Ken turned serious. Dorothy, can I ask you something? She nodded. What would you say if I told you I want us to be more than just friends? Dorothy's eyes softened. I'd say, I've been waiting for you to say that. Ken smiled, then gently held her hand. And in that quiet moment something pure was born, love not built on status, but on sincerity. But not everyone was happy about Ken and Dorothy's growing closeness. Clara's mother, Madame Philomena, a powerful society woman, stormed into Chief Raymond's estate one day, demanding to speak with him. You think my daughter isn't good enough for your son, she shouted. Chief Raymond remained calm. Your daughter disrespected me. She insulted the very values I raised my son with. She thought you were a beggar. Madame Philomena barked. You tricked her. No, Chief Raymond replied firmly. I tested her. And she failed. Dorothy, a girl with nothing, passed that test with flying colors. And you think that one can marry into your family? Philomena hissed. A fruit seller? At that moment, Dorothy was standing beside Papa Raymond, holding a file. She stood there quietly overhearing everything, but kept her head high. Chief Raymond looked at Dorothy, then turned to Madame Philomena. I'd rather have a humble fruit seller with a pure heart as my daughter-in-law than a spoiled brat with pride and poison in her veins. With that, he dismissed the woman and turned to Dorothy. My dear, don't let their noise shake your heart. You are exactly what this family needs. Dorothy smiled softly. Thank you, Grandpa. 1 week later, Chief Raymond invited Dorothy and her brother to a special dinner in the family garden. The whole estate was decorated with flowers and soft lights. Musicians played gentle tunes under the moonlight. Dorothy wore a simple but elegant red evening dress given to her by Ken as a gift. Sam was smiling brightly. His health had improved so much that he now walked without support. As they all sat together at the table in the garden, Ken held Dorothy's hand, his voice steady. "Dorothy, the day you gave my father banana and water in the market, my life changed forever. You didn't know who he was. You didn't know what he had. But you gave him your kindness." Dorothy's face was filled with peace. "You didn't chase after wealth. You carried your burdens with grace. And you saw value in people, whether they were dressed in rags or riches. That's the kind of woman I've been praying for." He went down on one knee and opened the box. Inside was a stunning gold ring, set with a single blue stone. "Dorothy, will you marry me?" The garden went quiet. Dorothy's hands trembled in excitement. Then she nodded. "Yes, Ken, yes." Ken slipped the ring onto her finger. Cheers erupted. Papa Raymond and Sam clapped as they cheered and celebrated. News of the engagement spread across town. The same people who once ignored Dorothy now praised her. "She deserves it," they said. Her heart was pure all along. Even Clara, seeing the headlines of Dorothy's engagement with Ken on TV, broke down in her room. For the first time, she understood what she had lost, not just a rich man, but the chance to be loved truly and deeply. But for Dorothy, none of that mattered. She wasn't in it for the attention. She never had been. Weeks later, at the wedding ceremony, the entire town gathered: chiefs, elders, traders, even children. They watched as Dorothy, once a humble fruit seller, became the daughter-in-law of one of the richest men in the region. But she remained the same, gracious, respectful, and kind. Papa Raymond was overjoyed as he danced in celebration while the guests clapped. At the reception, Papa Raymond stood to give a short speech. "My people," he began, "this story should remind us of something very important. The heart is greater than the pocket. And character is more valuable than class." He looked at the crowd and added, "Before you mock someone poor, ask yourself, what if that person is your future blessing in disguise?" The crowd applauded. Dorothy and Ken smiled at each other. But someone stood far behind the crowd, hidden, broken, and filled with regret. It was Adaora. Her once bright skin was now pale and tired. Her designer bags were gone. Her sparkle had faded. The rich man she depended on got arrested for fraud. He took all her savings. The car, not in her name. The apartment, seized by EFCC. Her so-called rich friends vanished like smoke. She had lost everything. She fell into debt, got rejected by her own family, and nearly ended up homeless. Now, sitting at the edge of the celebration, she watched the same friend she mocked, being celebrated by kings and chiefs. She waited for Dorothy all through. When Dorothy finally saw her old friend, her eyes widened. Adaora. Adaora couldn't hold back her tears. "Dorothy, I came to say, I'm sorry." She broke down sobbing. "You were right. Dignity is worth more than anything. I chased quick wealth and lost everything, while you gained everything by staying true." Dorothy leaned towards her. "It's never too late to choose a better path, Adaora. Your story isn't over yet." Dear viewers, life has a way of testing our hearts when we least expect it. Sometimes, the people who appear to have nothing carry the greatest wealth inside them: kindness, humility, and truth. Dorothy had no riches, no status, no power. But she had something more precious: a good heart. And because of that, the doors of destiny swung wide open. Adaora had beauty, enjoyed momentary flashy life but lacked dignity. Clara had beauty, fame, pride. But she lacked the one thing that truly matters: character. What did this story teach you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to African Tales by Bro Divine, where every story carries a lesson worth remembering. Until next time, keep believing in kindness, because you never know who is watching. Thank you for watching. Remain blessed.